Agent Romanoff. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
Hey guys, and welcome to Film Artsy, your number one source for all things films and movies. My name is Elijah, and over the years, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has not only provided some of the coolest movies and storytelling narratives we've seen in cinema in a really long time, but we've also seen some really awesome visual effects along the way. So today, we thought it'd be really interesting if we took a deep dive into the behind the scenes of various movies in the MCU to take a look at more or less what type of work and what evolution comes from the visual effects that are in a lot of these movies. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we can fully dive in, we wanted to give a huge shout out to our Marvel Monday question winner. If you guys didn't know, every single Monday we ask a challenging Marvel related trivia question over on our community tab. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you guys are subscribed, and every Monday participate in our question for a chance to have your comment featured right here on our channel. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into this. First, we wanted to take a look at Avengers Endgame, just because the visual effects that were in Avengers Endgame were just so absolutely incredible. Besides just the awesome set pieces that are just prevalent throughout the film, the visual effects that went into creating Thanos was such a big deal. So many times, movies that have CGI and visual effects have some level of uncanniness to them, and Thanos being such an important antagonist in the movie definitely needed to have the right visual effects and representation of Josh Brolin's performance to make the character come across as a realistic character. And they did such an interesting thing with Avengers Endgame.
So we kind of did this whole gauntlet. This whole gauntlet of testing and scanning, capturing every aspect of Josh's face in different range of motions. So not only was it a technical discovery for us, it was also a character discovery for Josh, Joe, and Anthony. And what we found, we kind of had imagined Thanos being this big, mean, kind of over-the-top character. His performance was menacing, but subtle.
But another really interesting element that went into Avengers Endgame as well comes from the part of the movie where they had to do the future versus past Captain America sequence. And it's interesting how they pulled this one off. Another character that's been a massive part of CGI since the beginning, and essentially a very important part for how they handled VFX for a ton of different characters and kind of laid the groundwork as the first CGI only character, really, was the Incredible Hulk. And it's really cool to see how they break down this character using CGI. Interestingly enough, if we pivot a little ways back to Avengers Age of Ultron, we can also see a really interesting look at how they do landscape for the battle that had Captain America and Black Widow fighting. Looking at another more recent movie, we can appreciate Captain Marvel and the VFX that went into that when they were kind of decorating and designing a lot of the moments where we see Captain Marvel escaping from the Skrull ship. There was a lot of small details that really were paid attention to here, and it's cool to see what they ended up making as the final product. Another important element of Captain Marvel's story definitely were the Skrulls and how they're able to shapeshift in a way that doesn't feel too unnatural when viewers are watching it in the cinema, and it's cool to see what they ended up doing here. But even from a more equipment-based standpoint, CGI can be really important in just making things look realistic and smooth at the same time. Iron Man 3 was a really great example on how they are able to do different things with CGI to put the suit on Robert Downey Jr. And we see more of this just in Avengers Infinity War, where we see a lot of different visual effects that went into building the street and different characters suiting up for battle. This next one's definitely a fan favorite one just to look at because it's so impressive to see. But when you look at the final battle from Avengers Endgame, it's really cool how they essentially brought this studio lot to life, all digitally. And you have to just think of all of the visual effects artists that put their time and energy into painting a very realistic backdrop and letting everything mesh. And the vision that must have gone into this and the planning that went into this way in the early stages to set everything up ahead of time for filming, so that the visual artist could then apply the backdrop and the art. And it's so cool to see.
And you kind of sit down and start brainstorming. It's like, well, what has to happen, And it's like, Cap's going to pick up Mjolnir. He's going to pick up the hammer one way or another. The last thing I do, he's picking up that hammer. Assemble.
So you get to the moment where the portals start
opening. We had our big
up.
days where we had everybody there. You can kind of see it in the big kind of masters, and when Cap says assemble, everybody's standing there, and when we had all the actors on set. And
we can also appreciate this sequence from Avengers Infinity War, where we see the rescue of Doctor Strange.
In all the time I've served Thanos, I have never failed him. If I were to reach our rendezvous on Titan with a time stone silhouette.
And then, of course, everyone's favorite character from all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Goose the Cat, and what they ended up doing to make the cat animated, and which scenes were a real cat and which scenes maybe weren't a real cat. That one's really cool to take a look at.
Reggie. Well, it wasn't just Reggie. So the complicated thing was there were 4 cats on set. And Reggie was our hero cat, but there was another cat that was good for being held, and there was another cat that was good for sitting. And so some of the shots are, when the cat is floating. Obviously, it's not real, and because a real cat can't do that. But there are other shots where the cat is on somebody's lap and just sitting there and doing cat things.
So what do you guys think of the visual effects of the MCU? We think it's really awesome to see the differences from what the movie looked like when certain scenes were shot versus what we see with all of the visual effects later on, because it gives us an extra level of appreciation for the craft that goes into making these types of movies so awesome and visually appealing. Let us know what you think though in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for more videos like this, and we'll see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye guys.
I'm about to.
Hi everybody.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hi. See you guys.